If Medicare's broke, how can we cut taxes? We'll ask White House Chief Panetta and Budget Chairman Kasich. Also, will Dick Bland be Perot's Reform Party candidate? If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press with Tim Russert.
NBC's all-new sizzling summer nights continue Saturday with amazing all-new prophecies. Witness the predictions of these prophets as their final visions are revealed.
The time is now. The time is extremely urgent.
These are the prophecies you must see. All-new Final Visions, 9, 8 Central.
Remember all those sunny weekends together, just you and me, but I don't know, things have changed. I need something better for myself and the environment.
This summer, take your gas mower to a Metro Recycling Center and get a $40 rebate on a new electric lawnmower.
I just can't take your fumes and noise anymore.
Call 612-3500 and help News Channel 8, Portland General Electric, and these sponsors clean up our air.
I'm not listening.
The 1996 Summer Olympics, only on Northwest News Channel 8.
This summer in Atlanta, the greatest spectacle in sports, the Olympic Games, return to America on NBC.
It sure makes sense, especially when the strengths are Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, the two remaining members of the three-time champions of the early 90s, and anticipated centerpieces of Game 1. But even on a night when the Big Two were less than devastating, the Bulls were, as ever, resourceful. And the morning after headlines included names like Longley and Harper and Kukoc. So at times, the stars could lead the cheers as lesser lights led the Bulls to victory. Seattle had missed a golden opportunity to steal one from the prohibitive favorites. Although for the most part, the Sonics seemed unfazed by their Game 1 loss. They believe they can play much better than they did in the opener. But here's something for Seattle to consider. So can he. Game 2, next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1996 NBA Finals.
The United Center in Chicago as we head toward Game 2 of the NBA Finals, and it could be the final home game of the season for the Chicago Bulls. Their plan, and the truth be told, their expectation, is to leave here up 2-zip, finish the job in Seattle, and return home only for the parade. But the Seattle Sonics still believe they can rain on that parade. Shawn Kemp went for 32 in Game 1 before he himself was reined in by fouls. Hi again, everybody. I'm Bob Costas. Game 2 just about 10 minutes away, but there's still talk about Game 1. A nearly classic example of the kind of game a visiting underdog has a good chance to win. Up for grabs entering the fourth quarter, with the Bulls not fully in sync and Michael Jordan not dominating. If Seattle's realistic hope was to get a split in Chicago and then get out of town, chalk up Game 1 as an opportunity missed. Not only did the Bulls prevail, but with their defense dominating the final period, they blew open a close game and won by 17 on what for them really was an off night. A night which saw Dennis Rodman get the better of this exchange with Frank Brickowski. If Brickowski's intention was to rile the Rodman, that strategy backfired. As a result of the elbow, Brickowski was hit with a flagrant foul. He gave Rodman a mouthful. Eventually, he'd continue arguing with both Rodman and Jack Haley, who Brickowski referred to as Rodman's babysitter. Referee Joey Crawford had heard enough at that point. He gave Brakowski a second technical, thereby tossing the brick.
Now you have Dennis Rodman, who laughs at the NBA referees, who laughs at the NBA authority. That elbow that Frank Brakowski was a flop. Rodman flopped it into a flagrant foul. And then you get 2 technicals on top of it. I think the call had a big impact on the game. And there's no way it was a flagrant foul. It was a flop. And that they have Dennis Rodman, who cheats all over the court all the time, be rewarded for acting and flopping, and then let him laugh at us, laugh at the league, laugh at the referee, taunt our bench, and not be punished. Makes me incredibly mad.
Frank's an all-around ball player, and they sent him in a goon role and to play a part, and I don't think Frank wants to, or needs to play that part. And that's not what's going to disturb Dennis. Dennis is above that, and he's proven it all playoffs.
My job is to go in and play defense to keep Dennis off the floor, and that's a big job for me. You know, Dennis is a brilliant rebounder. I'm desperate in the sense that I'm here for the first time in my career, and I will do anything to help my team win. And if it means knocking Dennis on his butt, that's what I'll do. And Dennis will do the same to me. So the clarity of all that is cool as far as the championship goes, and I don't have a problem with any of that.
12-year veteran Frank Brakowski, perhaps just a bit embarrassed by all the attention of the last couple of days. What did Dennis Rodman have to say? Well, here's his quote. We've got to play mind games in this series, and so far, so good. And a live shot of Dennis Rodman, who has elected not to change the dew on the dome from Game 1. It's a repeat as we move up to tip-off for Game 2. Marv Albert, Matt Guokas, and Bill Walton, all of whom have remained with their original hairstyles so far as I know, will join us from courtside when we come back to Chicago right after this.
The most rewarding relationships.
Brand Tires. Daylight left in Chicago. Game 2 of the NBA Finals from the United Center. The Seattle Supersonics and the Chicago Bulls in tip-off just minutes away. For the first time in this postseason, the Seattle Sonics find themselves trailing in a series. With more on the matchup, we go to our announce team of Marv Albert, Matt Guokas, and Bill Walton. Marvelous.
All right, thank you, Bob. And looking back at game number 1 on Wednesday night, so much for all that concern about the 9-day layoff for the Chicago Bulls, because the Bulls did it in every hustle category. Now check this out. When the coaches look at the stat sheets, these are the critical numbers. All Chicago second chance points, which means they control the offensive board. They have the edge in fast break opportunities, and they took advantage of Seattle turnovers. Plus, they received offense from unexpected sources.
Well, Mark, those are telling numbers. And if Chicago gets major contributions from Luke Longley, Ron Harper, and Tony Kukoc, they will be very tough to beat. Right from the start, Luke Longley looking to be aggressive on offense with the jump hook and swatting away one of his 4 block shots. And for much of Game 1, Ron Harper neutralized Gary Payton, coming up with a steal and turning it into one of those easy baskets. And Tony Kukoc found his long-lost three-pointer and this terrific move inside. The Chicago Bulls have so many different weapons besides the ultimate one.
And Bill, in Game 1, George Karl pulled a surprise as he matched Detlef Schrempf at the start against Michael Jordan, which did not work. What do the Sonics have to do tonight?
For Seattle, they need to get back to basics. In Game 1, Seattle never gave their real game a chance to see if it would work. Their defensive strategy of putting their worst defensive player, Detlef Schrempf, on Michael Jordan, sure, it held him to 28 points, but this was a non-contest as Detlef Schrempf could not get anything done except show the ability to usher Michael Jordan all the way to the basket. Gary Payton, on the other hand, was dwarfed in his matchup by Scottie Pippen. Pippen took him inside, just battered him at will. Gary Payton, he has to have a huge offensive game. That was not the case in Game 1. Now, the NBA Finals is a very tough place to experiment with gimmicks. But then again, Marv, nothing else has worked against the Bulls this year either.
All right, and for more on the Bulls and the Sonics, we have double coverage on the sidelines with Ahmad Rashad and Hannah Storm. We have reports from both. Let's start with Ahmad. All right, thanks, Marv. It was a great record-breaking season for the Chicago Bulls. They won all the individual awards. Coach of the Year, Michael Jordan, his 4th MVP. Tony Kukoc, 6th Man of the Year. And there was another dramatic presentation made today as the team equipment manager, John Ligmanowski, awarded Jack Haley the top team cheerleader of 1996. One other note, that Seattle has the glove and Gary Payton. Well, Ron Harper, because of his play in Game 1, has now been nicknamed the Mitten. He said he doesn't like the Mitten. If you're going to give him a nickname, call him the Straight Jacket. Now, for more on Seattle, let's go down to Hannah.
Thanks, Ahmad. Well, the Sonics' experiment of starting Delo Strength on Michael Jordan has lasted all of one game. They're going to return to their normal defensive rotation for Game 2. They're going to start Hersey Hawkins on Michael Jordan. They're not going to designate any defender to come over and help on the double team. Instead, the help is going to come from the man closest to the ball. They, however, are going to get no help from one of their top defenders, Nate McMillan. The co-captain was shooting around before the game. Apparently, however, that was just as a decoy. He feels that he re-aggravated his back injury in Game 1, doesn't want to risk permanent injury, told me he'll not only sit out this game, but in all probability the remainder of the finals. Mark?
All right, thank you, Hannah. So coming up in just a moment, Game 2 of the NBA Finals from the United Center in Chicago.
Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me.
Your turn, man. When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good.
I think she digs you.
Really?
No. Beyond the sea, somewhere.
This is Ford Escort. It's new and it's nifty. It's made for the smart, the intelligence rifty. It's new out and in.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Miller Lite. With a great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. By McDonald's, the official break of the NBA. Have you had your break today? And by Ford Escort. It's new and it's nifty. Made for the smart, the intelligent thrifty.
On a breezy 52-degree rainy day in Chicago, we welcome you back to the Windy City. Throughout this season, the Sonics have been a good bounce-back team, hoping to do it tonight to even up this series at 1-1. A look at the starting lineups. First for Seattle. In the backcourt, Gary Payton hoping to bounce back from the 6 for 17 shooting the other night. Hersey Hawkins also off the mark, only 2 of 9 in his 35 minutes. Urban Johnson, the starter at center, but we'll see much of Sam Perkins. Sean Kent coming off a 32-point performance, and Detlef Schrempf, who would like to turn things around here in game number 2. George Karl, one-time point guard at North Carolina, then played for San Antonio, the ABA, and the NBA. This is 4th full season as head coach of the Sonics. And for the Chicago Bulls, the usual starting 5, Michael Jordan and Ron Harper. What a terrific all-around game for Harper on Wednesday night. Did it in every category. Luke Longley had the good start, finished with 14 points, a career playoff high. Scottie Pippen also outstanding all around. And Dennis Rodman, who had 13 rebounds, which for Dennis, a low number. And Phil Jackson, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. And as coach of the Bulls, he has won 19 of 22 playoff series. The only losses to Detroit in 1990, the Knicks in 94, and the Magic last season.
In the Eastern Conference Finals, Chicago came out in the second game against Orlando after winning handily in the first one. Very flat. Luke Longley and Rodman getting into foul trouble. It's important for Chicago to get off to a good start with pressure defense and try to hold serve.
For Seattle, it's all about confidence. It's about Payton controlling the tempo, getting it up and down in Seattle's favor, and then the whole Sonic team has to deal effectively with Chicago's pressure defense.
And the Sonics control the opening tip. The officials, Ed T. Rush, Jess Kersey, and Hugh Hollins. Hollins not a favorite of the Chicago Bulls. Schrempf not able to hit on his first shot. And the stuff missed by Kent, but they keep it alive.
Well, much like Game 1 started, a couple of offensive rebounds for Seattle as the Bulls standing flat-footed.
Hersey Hawkins. Open shot for Kent. And the tip by Johnson.
Well, really, I thought the Bulls would just come out firing defensively with pressure on the ball. 3 possessions that time for the Sonics.
Harper draws the foul, so the Bulls going for the penetration on their first possession. Foul committed by Kemp.
Normally, it helps to make your first shot, but with the way the Sonics are just attacking the offensive board, pushing the Bulls underneath, just way too easy of a first possession for Seattle as far as Chicago is concerned.
How about Irvin Johnson? 3 rebounds. First half minute. Did not have a rebound in game number 1.
That's called making adjustments. Coaching.
Trouble already for Seattle. Shawn Kemp, who is foul prone and fouled out of game 1 with an early one.
But you can't let a guy like Harper turn the corner on that triangle offense pick.
Hawkins trying to save the pass. Here comes Pippen. Scottie Pippen won't count. He travels.
A good defensive play by Gary Payton, who's actually backpedaling, but I think it's just a little juke and a little fake. It's Scottie confused it and forced the turnover.
Harper trying to draw the foul. Again, the outside shot by Kemp. Shawn Kemp, who had the sensational Game 7 last Sunday against Utah and followed up 41 minutes, 32 points on 9 of 14 shooting here on Wednesday night. But committed 7 turnovers and fouled out. Longley rejected by Johnson.
Too many fakes by Longley that time.
Payton for 3. And Rodman able to get inside Kemp. Michael Jordan setting up against Detlef Schrempf. Uses the pick. And Harper able to keep it alive. Good look from Longley.
Longley is a very skilled player that, like Burkowski for Seattle, gets very little credit for what he can do with the ball.
Foul committed by Longley.
When you rise up for your jumper, as Longley will do here, out of the bottom of your eye, you never think pass. You always want to think shot at that moment. A good player can always dump it off at the last moment. And Luke Longley has developed into a solid basketball player.
Well, Luke is so happy to be rid of the Alonzo Mournings, the Patrick Ewings, and Shaquille O'Neals, and getting an opportunity now where there's going to be a lot of double teaming, and he is alert for it. He's going to make cuts to the basket when the double team occurs, and he's always going to be available for that spot-up shot.
Well, the Sonics had hit their last 18 free throws before the miss by Shawn Kemp. It's the Sonics 5 and the Bulls 4.
That's a tough strategy to double Ron Harper in the corner.
Pippen got the step and was hammered. Foul committed by Johnson.
Well, the Sonics have been an aggressive, scrambling, defensive team all league. Lots of gimmicks, lots of unusual things at the defensive end of the floor. We saw it in Game 1 with the strange matchup. But continuing a little bit with Gary Payton still guarding Scottie Pippen. I expect the Bulls to put Pippen in the post a lot more and try to exploit Payton inside.
Harper and Gary Payton getting into a little verbal exchange just behind the free throw shooter Pippen. There's the press.
How about Scottie Pippen? 10 of 11 at the line in the finals. He's been shooting 65% in the playoffs at the foul line. Bulls with a 6-5 lead. Hawkins on the penetration. Well, George Karl saying after Game 1, he wanted to see his guards in particular taking it to the basket.
Well, Hawkins just 2 for 9 in Game 1, not asserting himself, and he caught himself that way in the Utah series as well.
Yes, and it counts.
Sometimes Hersey Hawkins, who's such a good perimeter shooter and a three-point threat, relies on that perimeter game so much, and it will draw the defense out. And when you get that opportunity, you've got to attack the basket. Luke Longley continues to be aggressive at the offensive end, not feeling any pressure at all from Irvin Johnson.
Irvin Johnson is playing a very unimaginative defensive game.
What do you mean by that?
He's not anticipating that his player is going to make a move to the basket. He's guarding Longley as if Longley's just going to catch it, stand there, and pass out every time.
Here's Kemp. Several opportunities, and they continue to control the boards. What a sequence on the offensive glass by the Sonics.
Well, no question, Seattle has come out the aggressor on the glass, and maybe Irvin Johnson is saving himself at the defensive end because he has been a tiger on the offensive end, if not getting rebounds, keeping the ball alive because Kemp is always there.
In effect, he's being creative at the offensive end.
Saving himself, yes.
Exactly. 7 rebounds for Irvin Johnson.
That's a Dennis Rodman-like start, but Matt was mentioning the focus and intensity of Seattle. Nowhere more evident than on the face of Shawn Kemp.
It's the Sonics 9 and the Bulls 8. Now Schrempf guarding Harper. The backdoor.
Oh, that's part of the triangle offense that usually doesn't start that far out on the floor, but you hit the post, man on the wing, always cut to the hole.
Michael Jordan with a second field goal. Bulls by 1. Kemp blocked by Pippen. Open 3 for Jordan. Rodman with the rebound and pops it up.
Good run out defensively by Irvin Johnson on Jordan's 3 attempts. Seattle still looks tentative.
Here's the double team on Schrempf, and Payton fires. Hits the 3. Gary Payton, who played 47 minutes in game number 1, and probably will continue to log that kind of time with Nate McMillan bothered by the back problem.
Gary Payton, he can play the whole game. George Karl told us beforehand he felt that Gary did get a little fatigued, as did Sam Perkins down the stretch, but Gary's got to compete for full 48 here.
Longley got himself trapped and is called for steps.
Poor recognition by Longley that time. He just had the little man Gary Payton on him on the defensive scrambling switch. No need to get fancy there. Just step through and slam.
So the Bulls with their second turnover. They committed just 1 in the first half the other night. Hawkins for 3. And a loose ball foul against the Sonics.
Already we've seen Seattle run 3 pick-and-roll plays with Gary Payton. They ran precious few in game 1, and that's a big play for Gary Payton, except that the spacing has to be a lot better.
And that was foul number 3 on Irvin Johnson right here, coming over the back of Dennis Rodman.
I'm sure George Karl does not really care about fouls with Irvin Johnson. He's not going to play that many minutes to begin with. He only played 9 the other night. George just wants to get the most out of him he can. Sam Perkins is going to play the heavy minutes.
7 rebounds for Johnson in just under 5 minutes in this first quarter. Jordan gets inside. And the game is tied at 12.
Jordan flashing from the weak side. And when Pippen is guarded by Payton, there's just no pressure on the pass because Payton is so short.
A wild shot by Payton, or perhaps he was trying to lay it off the glass for Kemp.
Well, Marv, when you come in there as a guard, coming to the basket, you just want to get it over the defender so your guy can come and slam it home from the weak side, as Kemp did.
Foul was called on Scottie Pippen. A timeout is taken with 6:43 to go in this first quarter.
NBA.com. Log on and get connected to the NBA.
Well, for Scottie Pippen, there are ties to this Seattle franchise. He was actually the Sonics' first pick, 5th overall in the draft back in 1987, but never played for Seattle.
The Seattle Supersonics select Scott Pippen of Central Arkansas.
Well, I think as a young player and coming out of NAIA high school, I was very excited just to get drafted that highly. And, you know, knowing when I left my hotel room that there was a trade on the table for me to come to Chicago after being drafted by Seattle, I was just pretty much, I guess, happy and hoping that the trade went through so I would have a chance to play with Michael.
Well, the Sonics immediately traded is it Scott Pippen, I believe David Stern mentioned? Scottie Pippen to the Bulls for Olden Polynice and a second-round draft pick. You recall the Sonics nearly got Scottie Pippen back in a deal involving Sean Kemp 2 years ago.
That was the deal that was on the table that Seattle pulled back. Remember, that was during the time that Jordan was not playing basketball. Chicago looking more to the future. I think both teams very happy that that trade was not made.
Actually, the trade that was not made changed the recent history of the NBA. Michael Jordan said he might not have come back if Pippen were not a member of the Bulls. And here is Pippen with a nice three, and just defeats the 24.
Well, the Bulls coming out of that timeout with trying to go inside to Scottie Pippen against Payton, which is something we anticipated a lot more of, to make him work down low. It's not necessarily to get the post play, but to get some offensive rebounds as well.
So the Bulls by one, just under 6 minutes remaining first quarter. Crowd wanted to travel on Payton. Hawkins for Schrempf, and he just did beat the 24-second buzzer.
Seattle's pump faking too much. Go right at him. These defenders are waiting for them. They're not getting in the air at all. Seattle hasn't established enough of a game where a pump fake means anything.
Hawkins rejected by Kemp.
Scottie Pippen saying, so you're the defensive player of the year. I just faced you up. I should have won that award.
Yes, Scottie certainly enjoyed doing it against the man they call the Glove. 5.5 remaining in this opening quarter. Down to 7 on the shot clock, and the Glove just did pick one off.
Good poke away by Perkins as well.
Schrempf. Well, Detlef Schrempf missed his first 4, similar to the scenario in Game 1. Got off to the slow start, and that was his first field goal. Sonics lead by 1.
Good thing for Seattle is how many shot attempts they're getting, as Jordan is feeling it perfectly early on. But Seattle has taken twice as many shots as Chicago has. That's something they don't normally do.
About 10 offensive rebounds, but Bill, they've only turned it into 4 points, so it really doesn't matter how many you get, other than it shows you're aggressive, but you got to capitalize.
Here's Schrempf. Kemp. Oh, what a move by Sean Kemp. So Kemp with 8 points.
In years past, Sean Kemp would have made that play into something so much more difficult. He would have tried to double clutch and scoop flip shot. Who knows how you can describe it. Now just playing so disciplined, so under control.
Jordan, the fadeaway on target, and Michael is 5 of 7. He has 10 points. Bulls lead by 1.
Talking to Ahmad before the game after his conversation with Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan lights up when he sees Hersey Hawkins as a defender.
Jordan for Rodman will pay it back, gets it back to Pippen. Well, that would have been nice. Not enough Bulls running the floor. Hawkins for 3. And back comes Jordan. Pippen putting the ball on Hawkins. And hitting. Bulls lead 20-17.
Now, this is Chicago Bull basketball. Any kind of steal, any kind of missed shot, they want to get out on a run, but so far, they look very tired to me. Very heavy legs.
But, man, it's also Seattle Sonic basketball. The question is it enough? These teams are so similar. It often seems, though, like Seattle just comes up a little bit short, almost as if they're Bulls light.
Very nice, Chris.
Now Scottie Pippen getting out and running, sensing the fast break, making sure he gets down the floor quickly and able to get the throw-ahead pass and finish.
To whom it may concern, I've always loved the summer games, the running, the jumping. It's all good. Even the shot put thing is pretty cool, too. Still, somehow, I can't help feeling there's something missing. Me. And that's why I think football should be an official event of the summer games. Let's have a meeting and put this together. That's my dream, and this is my planet.
he works.
Nice to have this man to bail you out. No pressure on the pass from Pippen. Double team, just too slow to get there as Michael turns away from it for that jump shot. And now just taking Hersey Hawkins down to the baseline. Payton coming way too light as Michael rises in the air.
But the good thing for Seattle is the type of shots Jordan's getting. In game 1 against Detlef Schrempf, he was just driving right through. Hersey Hawkins forced him to the fadeaway. Hannah Storm's got a report from the Sonic bench.
George Karl asking Gary Payton if he wanted to switch off defensive assignments and take Ron Harper. He's going to do that. He's also telling his team that the Bulls overreact to their penetration, so don't forget when they penetrate to kick it back out. Simple basketball, he's telling his team to stick to the basics. Bill? Mark?
Matt? Take your pick. Bob. That is the second turnover committed by the Sonics. 3:06 remaining in this first quarter, and the Bulls lead by 1.
Barbie talked about Payton having to have a huge offensive night. He's only 1 for 3 tonight to start the game. Not a good sign for Seattle.
And a foul called by Ed Rush. Foul committed by Kemp, and that is his second.
Scotty and Michael anticipating a little denial overplay by Gary Payton, trying to set up a backdoor cut to the basket. Terrific help on the part of Shawn Kemp. The body was there, but the reach in, and he just cannot afford to pick up those kind of fouls. He had his body there, he just had to keep his arms tighter.
So much of defense is anticipation. We saw Irvin Johnson in the early going just standing there flat-footed. That time, Shawn Kemp did not even make a play for the ball, did not visualize in advance what could possibly happen. Now he's on the bench watching, dreaming about it.
And the Bulls now lead 22-19. Tony Kukoc on the floor, applying some pressure on David Wingate, who just checked in. Wingate with 2 minutes of playing time the other night, and picked up 2 quick fouls in trying to guard Michael Jordan. Illegal defense called for the first time.
And with Shawn Kemp on the bench right now, Sam Perkins will become the primary post player right now. Of course, Sam is very effective on the perimeter with that three-point threat, but they have to put somebody inside to make the defense react.
Man, I think they can post up Detlef Schrempf, who was an awesome post-up player in the Houston series.
Offensive foul. It's on Payton. That is his first call.
Well, the other post-up option they have is that man, Gary Payton, going to take Michael Jordan inside, and not really happy with a play late in game 1 as they got tangled up, got a double technical foul. I ran into Gary Payton on the elevator yesterday saying, I am not going to take any more of that from Michael Jordan.
And it's amazing how much information Matt can pick up on those elevators. Payton with the steal and puts it down. And then apparently had something to say to Jordan.
Not a good idea.
Whispering sweet nothings into the ear of Michael Jordan. 1 point, Chicago lead. Offensive foul on Pippen.
Well, Gary Payton was called by his coach, George Karl, late in game 1 and yesterday as well. I want you to get a little crazy out there. I want you to be yourself. I want to see some arrogance. I want to see the Gary Payton that helped lead us to 64 wins. And there's a little bit of it right there, and you have to be very careful with that. Not only because the officials will nail you with the deed, but you do not want to fire up Michael Jordan in this building or any building for that matter.
Judd Bushler has come on for the Bulls. Bill Wennington now defending against Sam Perkins. Nice move by Perkins. And that is his first field goal. So the Sonics have taken a 23-22 lead. Just under 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter.
This is Sonic basketball. This is posting up Perkins. This is getting out in transition off the steals. Sam Perkins can swing that left-handed hook from the low box. Realizes he's got Wennington, who's a position defender, not an athletic one, not a leaper. Get that whenever he wants. Nobody goes up top to block for Chicago.
3-second violation against the Bulls, giving the ball back to the Sonics. Perkins again working on Wennington. And again hits with the running hook.
And since Shawn Kemp went to the bench with 2 personal fouls, Seattle outscoring the Bulls 6-zip.
Rodman might want to switch over onto Perkins instead of Wennington.
And Jordan off the fake, run into by Wingate. Sonics are over the foul limit.
Milk whatever's working. Seattle coming right back to Sam Perkins in a mirror image of what we saw the time before. Run that play until they stop it.
It's been a long time between field goal attempts for the Chicago Bulls. They are 8 of 14 from the field, as opposed to Seattle. They've attempted 27 shots, 10 of 27, and Jordan and Pippen have combined to take 10 of the Bulls' 14 shots.
Marv, I think the layoff did hurt Jordan, did hurt Pippen. I don't really believe they'll get into full swing until Game 3 Sunday night. Little bit of stiffness. Yesterday, Michael Jordan telling us that for the first time in his life, he's having to ice. He's starting to feel stiff when he gets out of bed in the morning and limping to get going. Nice to see that he is human.
Yes, he said he did not quite have the feel in game number 1. Perkins, and a foul is called. Team foul number 4 on Chicago. It is on Buechler. George Karl was saying, though, he felt that the 7 minutes that Jordan sat out in the second half the other night, he felt the Sonics defense was great on Michael.
Well,
he wanted to make sure that point got
if he could just get Michael Jordan on the bench for 48 minutes, then everything would be fine.
Sonics by 2. And we're down to 45 seconds to go in the first quarter. Schrempf posting on Rodman. Shot clock at 5. Here is Schrempf. Oh, nice move on a fadeaway by Detlef Schrempf.
After a good defensive play by Tony Kukoc, who came down to help and actually batted the ball right back to Schrempf, giving an assist. Kukoc.
Rodman.
Well, Dennis Rodman able to keep it alive. Last touch by Seattle. And here comes Frank Brickowski, not a favorite here in Chicago, off the flagrant foul and the consecutive technicals as he got involved with Dennis Rodman and then Jack Haley in game 1. 8-1 run by the Sonics. The Bulls are holding for a final shot of this first quarter. Illegal defense. The call against Seattle, the team that led the NBA in that department.
What's interesting there is Sam Perkins coming out to double-team Michael Jordan to get the ball out of his hands. Michael just so smart. Just didn't give up the ball right away. Tried to explore.
And what is an illegal defense call in the final 24 seconds of the quarter, it means an automatic technical foul awarded. So Jordan to the line. And Michael is now 1 of 3 at the line.
Marv, I was talking with Rodman about this whole thing with Brickowski, and he was saying that the Bulls really won 2 games on Wednesday night. They won the basketball game, and they won the head game as well.
Funny thing, Brickowski and Haley say that they're very friendly off the court. They were going at each other as Brickowski was leaving, but they spent a lot of time in the offseason. Here's Kerr, who just checked in. Time running down. Jordan checked the clock, and that is too late. So after 1, a solid first quarter for the Seattle Sonics as they lead the Chicago Bulls 27-23. Shawn Kemp with 10, but he has 2 fouls. Michael Jordan 5 of 7, leading the Bulls with 11. You're watching the NBA on NBC.
This is Ford Escort. Did you know that it's new?
NBA Finals.
Sam Perkins in his 12th season out of North Carolina, again providing a lift off the bench for the Seattle Sonics. He and Michael Jordan, teammates at North Carolina on the Tar Heel squad that won the national championship for Dean Smith back in 1982. A look at a younger version of Michael and Sam, and they share the cover of Sports Illustrated magazine, the college basketball preview issue, predicting #1 ranking for North Carolina. Michael, meanwhile, sitting down. He'll get a rest as the second quarter gets underway.
Well, that was a key 3-minute stretch at the end of the first quarter for Seattle, outscoring the Bulls 8-1, while Sean Kemp was sitting on the bench with 2 personals.
All right, Harper and Kerr in the backcourt. Kukoc, Buechler, and Sally up front. Illegal defense again against the Sonics, so another technical foul awarded.
David Wingate at the top watching Steve Kerr, who is not off to the best start in this series. Steve had his problems in Game 1, missing all 5 of his shot attempts. We'll try to get on the board here, but David Wingate has to stay very close to Steve Kerr because they don't want to give him open looks from 3.
Many of the starters giving the business to some of the guys coming off the bench like Kerr and Buechler, who were not able to hit and who have done such a good job during the regular season and the playoffs. Buechler said he was too pumped up,
as did Kerr tell me the same thing. Jordan's asking how many times I got to win this game. Will you guys please make a shot?
Here is Kukoc. And back come the Sonics. Payton in the open floor, putting the move on Kerr. Oh, Gary Payton with a very impressive start. He now has 7 points, and the Sonics lead by 5.
The good thing for the Sonics is that they're not making wild turnovers that are leading to open court play for Chicago. They're making Chicago play the half-court game.
And the foul called by Ed Rush. Poke in the eye. Gary Payton making contact with Steve Kerr.
Well, Seattle is winning the hustle game so far. They're the more aggressive team on the offensive glass. They're forcing more turnovers and very aggressive, and you would say overly aggressive defense there as Payton just box Kerr.
Nice low door pass, but Kukoc stepped out of bounds. Substitutions for the Sonics. George Karl doing some shuffling here. He has Vincent Askew back along with Hersey Hawkins and the rookie from Michigan State, Eric Snow, who played only 1 minute the other night, handling the ball now against Steve Kerr. Snow will see additional time over the injury suffered by Nate McMillan.
14, 22, double ball.
And a double foul has been called. It is on Sally and Perkins. And there is Nate McMillan, who has a nerve impingement in his back that has led to shooting pains down the left leg, and he said doctors told him it will not improve until the offseason when he can rest it. A rare Seattle turnover. Harper from deep. Yes. Sonics by 3.
We saw Seattle's inability to feed the post properly in Game 1. That time, turnover leading to fast break points for Chicago.
Perkins trying to shake off Sally. A couple of veterans going at each other, and a hold is called on Sally.
Well, Ron Harper has been a key player for the Chicago Bulls all season long because he has found his niche as a defensive catalyst, playing the toughest guard in the backcourt. In the early season, it was George playing point guard. Now it's been Ron Harper, and his offense has picked up in the playoffs.
Here's a double on Perkins. Askew lost it.
They'll double off Askew. He's not as great a three-point shooter as some people think out in the Western Conference.
Harper putting moves on Snow.
Good box out for Kowski.
With the head fake, Brown wanted to travel. Hawkins with a beautiful move.
You can see the mindset of Hersey Hawkins, not going to just stay out and work that three-point line, but attack the rim every chance he gets.
Hersey, a native of Chicago, telling us his Buechler is able to hit after going 0 for 4 the other night, and the Sonics now lead 31-28. Hersey telling us not that pleasant playing back in his hometown. The chicken pressure has gotten to him. Illegal defense, this time against the Bulls. And a timeout is called with 9:18 to go. In this first half, Sonics with a 31-28 lead. And the question is, will they shoot the technical? before we take the commercial break. Yes, they will. Hersey Hawkins beckoned back to the line off that illegal defensive call.
Well, George Karl, I'm sure, does not find himself in this position very often during the course of the year with both Shawn Kemp and Gary Payton on the bench. It's imperative that he gets that offense from Hersey Hawkins and Sam Perkins. We also have to worry about floor generalship with the rookie Eric Snow.
Well, Hersey Hawkins, one of the best free throw shooters in the NBA, missing the technical. We'll be back in a moment.
The NBA Finals continue. Game 3, Sunday night at 7 Eastern on NBC. The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Mug Root Beer. The foam goes straight to your brain. By Honda, who offers an impressive family of cars, sport utility vehicles, and minivans. And by LDDS WorldCom, telecommunications service that's one-on-one.
Welcome back to Chicago. Sonics with a 31-28 lead on the Bulls, while the Sonics out-rebounded the Bulls 41-40 in Game 1. Chicago did a good job converting second-chance points. They had 17 offensive rebounds to 14 for Seattle, and they scored 17 second-chance points, while Seattle with only 7. A major factor leading to the Chicago victory in Game 1. But tonight, the Sonics have turned it, and they have done it in this department. This is the story tonight off the offensive glass to see Shawn Kemp converting a 7-2 advantage for Seattle. Detlef Schrempf being played by Dennis Rodman. Schrempf, Brakowski, Askew, Hawkins, and Snow on the floor for George Karl. Here is Snow, rejected easily by Longley. Eric Snow did not see much action during the regular season. Appeared in just 43 games, started once, only 300 minutes. Hopper will go to the line.
Chicago's getting unlimited backdoor opportunities from their triangle offense. This is their third time in the early goings of this game. Rodman flashing to the ball, as Longley did earlier, and guys just moving from the weak side on the entry pass to the post player. Brilliant play, Dennis Rodman.
5 points for Harper, now 3 of 3 on the line. Gary Payton making his return. Bill Jackson had been resting Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. They have stepped back onto the floor.
Well, a number of times in Game 1, we saw the pressure after the free throw, full court pressure, and really Seattle was not in an attacking mode. Just happy to get the ball across half court, playing right into the hands of the Chicago Bulls.
I think you turn a press into a fast break situation, get 3-on-2 to the hoop at will.
Illegal defense once again against Chicago. Well, similar to what we saw in Game 1 on Wednesday night here at the United Center, a host of whistles. Although not in the case of illegal defenses, they have been calling them tonight. And Hersey Hawkins, who missed the technical a moment ago, once again fails to convert. Sonics 31 and the Bulls 30. Game 2 of the NBA Final Series. Game 3 in Seattle, Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern Time, Showtime, hosted by Bob Costas at 7, which is 4 out on the West Coast. And a reach-in is called on Ron Harper.
Well, one of the rare times in this series so far where the Sonics have been able to run their favorite pick-and-roll play very deep on that left wing and getting the switch and drawing the foul.
Payton, Rodman, able to haul down his 4th rebound.
Devin Schrempf scored in the one post-up opportunity he had. They never came back to him. That's a mistake.
Two defenders, but could not hit.
I've been watching these games, and he's pretty good.
Bill picking things up real good. I think you've been spending too much time on the West. with a 1-point lead. Open shot for Harper. A three for Ron Harper. And the Bulls have taken the lead.
Well, Michael Jordan so smart, getting the double team, getting the ball up right away, getting ready for another pass inside, but nobody went out and challenged Ron Harper.
Hawkins guarded by Jordan. Burkowski. Payton inside, pops it out to Askew. And it's carried out of bounds, so the Bulls will get it back.
When Harper spots up, they've got to come down because Jordan is such a devastating post player, and Harper's just got that perfect rhythm. He wants some crowd response.
Well, he has received the response. The Bulls in the midst of a 7-0 run.
Take a look back at the year that was. Watch NBA Special at the Finals, Sunday on NBC.
And a storm back at the United Center. The Bulls leading the Sonics 33-31. Sean Kemp on the bench in foul trouble. His hamstrings tightening up moments ago, getting stretched out by the Sonics trainer, Frank Furtado, ready to get back in this game. Marv?
All right, thank you, Hannah. And Kemp is on the floor. Gone 3 of 7, 10 points, 5 rebounds. Fast start once again for the Rain Man, but he has 2 personal fouls. 5 minutes gone by in the second quarter. And it's the Bulls by 2 off that 7-0 run the last 2.5 minutes. Ron Harper with 7 of Chicago's 10 points here in the second quarter. And Hugh Hollins takes the call on Vincent Askew. For the Sonics, their 3rd team foul, Bulls with 2.
Now, Vincent Askew, a very physical defensive player. He's got a wide body, strong, and he's quick with his feet, but he's going to try to pop Michael Jordan every time he comes and try to keep him from cutting to that spot right there.
They double up on Jordan.
Scotty's holding the ball when it comes to him in the open spot created by others' offense.
And again, an open shot for Harper. Rodman able to get to it. Lance cut by Kemp.
The Bulls just can't seem to get into any kind of rhythm offensively with their triangle. The few times that Jordan's been able to post and turn quickly and shoot is a bit about it.
Jordan. And the foul against Rodman. Mentioned the Bulls not able to get into any kind of rhythm. The Sonics defensively somewhat responsible for that, doing a nice job.
They have. We just saw Dennis Rodman get away with one of those pushes that George Karl has been so talkative about the last couple of games. He feels that Rodman gets away with 3 seconds, with shoving, pushing, and flopping.
Yes, he said that, Kemp looked like he got a poke from Longley. And then turned it over. George Karl was upset with what he called 4 flops by Dennis Rodman in Game 1. He felt one was wrongly called the flagrant foul on Frank Burkowski.
Lamar and Scottie Pippen works the low post in there. That's Dennis Rodman's game, is to make the other team focus in on him and take it away from Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, the guys who were going to light it up offensively. Gary Payton picks up his 3rd foul. Not the kind of game that Seattle needs from Gary Payton to win in this building.
Percy Hawkins candidly had an interesting appraisal of his teammate Frank Burkowski. He said that he's very good at bringing out the worst in the people. Scottie Pippen with 10 points, and the Bulls now lead by 4. He said that with affection, that he can antagonize, and obviously that could be a plus for a team. Again, illegal defense called on the Bulls. That is the 4th illegal on Chicago.
Scottie Pippen getting to the lane. Poor closeout by Sean Kemp. Michael Jordan was just torching him with his right hand. You got to force guys to their offense. And as far as the Burkowski comment by Hersey Hawkins, Mark, this team, they love Frank Burkowski. And his personality adds so much to the overall team chemistry. He keeps everybody loose. He's a very intelligent, very witty guy, outgoing. Sort of keeps everybody loose in a situation that often gets very edgy with the volatile personalities on this Sonic team.
And he can play, as we saw during the regular season. Hersey said that he even got David Robinson annoyed to the point where he was ready to go at it.
That's where George Karl thinks this whole situation has developed with Brzykowski, where the referees are all over his case every single time.
Nice move by Hawkins, and the Bulls now lead 35-34. Harper is hammered by Perkins. And Harper will go to the line. Sam Perkins with a hard hit for his second foul.
Well, playoff foul, so important, and you have to be very careful now with the broad description of what is a flagrant foul, and it is very broad for the officials. Unnecessary contact, and a flagrant 2 would be excessive unnecessary contact. So the officials are covered there. That's a hard playoff foul. Wise not to call a flagrant foul. As far as Dennis Rodman drawing the attention of other coaches and other players, he does that all the time. I think what George Karl was trying to do was heighten the awareness to the officials, to keep an eye on him, to try to call those 3 seconds, to try to call those flops, and to try to save people like Shawn Kemp from committing those fouls.
Well, some pressure by Chicago did not work. Hawkins was able to get down court, but blew the layup. Jordan facing the double team, looking for Rodman.
I think Seattle should ignore Dennis Rodman except for what he does on the basketball court, which he's not been a whole lot tonight.
0 for 1 from the field and 6 rebounds for Rodman. Bulls lead by 3 with just under 5 minutes to go. First half. Hawkins with the room. Well, Hersey Hawkins showing some signs. That was a 3-pointer. He has 10, and the game is tied at 37.
Seattle style. They're penetrating and dishing for wide open threes.
Basket won't count. Foul before the shot attempt. But the Sonics over the limit, so Jordan will shoot a pair.
Well, Michael Jordan knows that he can get this ball anytime he wants, and he knows where that double team is coming from. So he makes that hard, quick spin move to the baseline to avoid that double team. And Hersey Hawkins is not strong enough nor quick enough to keep Michael from turning baseline.
So the Bulls by 1. As I look at Phil Jackson at the Chicago bench, I'm wondering, what does the John Calipari contract with the New Jersey Nets, a reported 5-year, $15 million due to Phil Jackson's negotiated with the Bulls?
I think it has to strengthen his position. I was in Phil's office with him before the game tonight, and obviously everyone's ecstatic that John Calipari got this great deal, but what does that do to Phil Jackson and Larry Brown and all these other proven coaches in the NBA to their salary structures?
Well, Kemp will go to the line. Well, Calipari is in Pat Riley territory in terms of salary.
Except for a piece of the team, which certainly changes that
yes.
dramatically, but still.
And also the per diem, I should point out. Although I'm not sure what John did get in that department.
Hard to think of a better coach in basketball today than Phil Jackson.
I'll tell you what, he was not happy with that last 3-point shot a couple of possessions ago by Hersey Hawkins. That's the one thing he wants to keep Seattle from doing, because he knows that's the one thing that can beat them, especially in this building.
And the leg block, kick ball, providing a new 24 for the Bulls. Steve Kerr back on the floor. It's Kerr and Jordan in the backcourt. Longley, Rodman, and Pippen up front. 4 minutes to go in this first half, and the game is tied at 39. Scottie Pippen. 12 for Pippen, and the Bulls lead by 2.
Well, we see it on both ends. How many good things happen when you penetrate, get into the lane, draw the defense, and find the open man.
Last touch by Jordan, able to break it up.
Michael Jordan gets isolated here with Detlef Schrempf. The double team comes, but it's ineffective, and they're still able to get whatever they want. You got to keep them inside that double team.
Kemp digging hard. In Longley in a collision. Longley is hurt. Kerr shooting. Rodman chipping it to Pippen. Jess Kersey waves it off, calls a 3-second violation. And Luke Longley shaken up, looking over at the Bulls bench.
Well, that's the call that George Karl was hoping he would get, and that was an easy one because Dennis Rodman was camped in that lane, and then a very hard behind the back, not really a bet, it was a flip at Eddie Rush, who put that whistle in his mouth, thought about calling the technical.
But Luke Longley went over to Phil Jackson and said, I got to come out, Coach, I'm beat up, and Phil Jackson pushed him back out there and said, get back down there and play some defense. Longley's going to get hammered by the elbow, unintentional, of course, just a continuation play, but there's certainly blood on Luke Longley at this point.
And the blood leading to the stoppage in play. Bulls trainer Chip Schaefer taking a look. Luke took a pretty good shot in that left eye, but still indicating play through it. He posterized Scottie Pippen.
He is the quickest dunker and the most explosive dunker in that situation.
The game is tied at 41. As Kemp started to accelerate, offensive foul on Jordan. You can see Pippen wanted no part, understandably, looking to get out of the area. And a timeout call now by Chicago. 11 turnovers now for the Bulls. Here's the move by Kemp, serving up a facial, which is enjoyed by the Sonic bench. 2:55 remaining, first half, and the game is tied at 41.
Less than a minute, 16 down. This one is over.
It ain't over until the Well, coming up on the Prudential Halftime Report, Bob Costas will be talking live with Lakers Executive Vice President and General Manager Jerry West. Jerry played on the 71-72 LA Lakers, considered one of the great teams in the history of the NBA. In fact, the Chicago Bulls broke the single-season record for wins, which West's Laker team set. Of course, Jerry, one of basketball's all-time greats. We'll hear from Jerry West at halftime. Bob Costas, Julius Irving on the Prudential Halftime Report. Charles Barkley may be a tough act to follow for Jerry. He was just wild on Wednesday night.
Well, so many issues for Jerry West to address today. Of course, Magic Johnson, free agency coming up for so many players.
3-second violation. And the Bulls get it back. 2:37 remaining first half. The game is tied at 41.
And George Karl gambling right now with leaving Gary Payton on the floor with 3 personals. 2.5 minutes to go in this first half. I saw him talking to Gary coming out of that last time, making sure that he was aware and to be careful.
He's been off the mark after the excellent game on Wednesday. Schrempf set the pick. Payton to the fadeaway. Again, Hoffer open. Brought a goaltend. Won't get it. Blocked shot is the call.
And I'll tell you why. That shot was way short. Crowd doesn't like it. Even though this thing is on the way down, it is short of the rim. Good not call by the referee.
You got to give it a chance to hit the rim, though. This ball might have scraped the bottom of the rim. Kukoc is killing Seattle with his up and under move.
But hasn't been able to convert. He's 0 for 4. And a technical was just called on Jimmy Rogers, an assistant coach with the Chicago Bulls. Jimmy complaining about the lack of the call. Felt it should have been a goaltend. Jimmy Rogers, one-time head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Boston Celtics. And Percy Hawkins, after missing his first 2 technical foul attempts, has hit his last 2. to the last, what they felt was a non-call. Bulls have missed their last 6 shots. Shot clock at 3.
Jordan lighting up every time he sees Detlef Schrempf anywhere near him.
Michael now 5 of 10 from the field. Leads the Bulls with 13. Hawkins, pretty give and go between Kemp and Hawkins. Nice exchange, and the Sonics lead by 3.
What a difference from game 1 for Seattle. When it was all individual play, now everybody involved.
Kerr, yes. Steve Kerr creating by himself with a quick release, and it puts it to a 1-point Seattle lead. Perkins foul, hit hard by Sally. And the Sonics are looking for a flagrant.
Well, Steve Kerr, who has been struggling to get an open look and to get any kind of shot, I guess he just needed a bigger body on him as Shawn Kemp came out to challenge that shot, as he has been very aggressive and playing terrific basketball all over the floor. I'm a little surprised that Phil Jackson has not come with a player to attack Gary Payton. There's another hard playoff foul by John Sally. Going to hammer Sam Perkins going to the basket. But right now, Gary Payton is able to defend Steve Kerr, who is not going to take the ball to the basket and draw fouls. And consequently, Payton's been able to just kind of roam around, freelance defensively, look to help out, just making sure he doesn't commit a foul. Chicago should try to isolate him, drive him, and try to pick up that 4th foul.
Sam Perkins, who will celebrate his 35th birthday in a week and a half, acquired by Seattle from the Lakers back in February of '93 in the deal for Benoit Benjamin and the rights to Doug Christie. Sonics by 2 with just under 1 minute to go in the first half.
Chicago can play 2 for 1. Maybe coach jumping the pass.
Jordan for 3. That was an offensive sequence that was not going anywhere, and Michael able to bail them out.
But more of the interchangeable pieces for Chicago. Makes them turn broken plays, allows them to get into something really good. You know, when you have Jordan who can make everything, that makes up for a lot of sin.
Bulls by 1. Perkins for 3. So it will be Chicago ball. 23 seconds remaining in the half.
When Kukoc steps into that post area, everybody has to react, take 1 step closer to him, and that just leaves Jordan. Seattle's done a good job of keeping Jordan out of the basket area. Jordan's not beating people off the dribble the way he did in game 1.
Well, George Karl not gambling anymore. He had gotten Payton out of there with a minute to go, now making sure Kemp doesn't get his third, as the Bulls like to spread the floor in this situation, normally with Kukoc.
Down to 10 seconds in the half. Kukoc beating Perkins, finding Kerr. Final seconds. Kerr forced it up. That is the end of the first half. Michael Jordan with 16 points. Scottie Pippen with 12. Shawn Kemp leading the way for the Sonics with 14. And Hersey Hawkins with 13. It's the Bulls 46 and the Sonics 45. Back in a moment with Bob Costas and the Prudential halftime report. But first, let's pause for these messages.
these Bulls as on the short list of the great NBA teams of all time. Where do you place the Bulls?
Well, this is truly an incredible team, Bob. You know, they have almost anything you want, but maybe arguably the greatest player that ever played during the team in one time. I think the impressive thing about this team is they can beat you almost any way. They can play a low-scoring game, three tremendous defensive players, and Michael Jordan's presence on both ends of the court. That's a real special package to have in one player.
Is Michael Jordan the best player of all time?
Bob, it would really be hard to argue against it because, you know, I think one of the ways you measure a player, how many games you win, how many championships do you win, and whether or not you really are a factor for your team all the time. Well, he's not only a factor on the offensive end, but the defensive end, I think he's nearly as great, and everything he does offensively overshadows the incredible defensive abilities that he has.
Turning to action today in the French Open, two men's semifinals, and Pete Sampras. One other note, immediately following tonight's game, 2 on CNBC. We'll bring you a half-hour post-game special, plenty of interviews and analysis on CNBC right after the game. It's halftime in Chicago. The Bulls leading the Sonics by 1. Back to Marv, Matt, and Bill after these messages from your local station.
This has been the Prudential Halftime Report, brought to you by Prudential. Live well. Make a plan. Be your own rock.
Welcome back to Chicago. The Bulls with a 46-45 lead on the Seattle Sonics. And NBA Commissioner David Stern always likes to bring a pal to the game. Tonight it is Denzel Washington, who is probably the best actor in the building except for Dennis Rodman.
Absolutely.
Yes. Matt, I thought the Bulls off their rhythm in the first half. Well, Seattle 17 of 41, 42% from the field. Chicago at 15 of 35. They picked it up after the bad start. Hersey Hawkins coming on strong in the second quarter, finished with 13 points on 5 out of 8. In the assist column, Chicago with a 13-5 advantage, and Michael Jordan in the first half, 16 points in his 21 minutes on 6 of 11 shooting. We'll be right back.
Michael Jordan walking off the court a little bit upset. This is what he was upset about. Just when he was going up, David Wingate appeared to undercut him, which really upset Michael Jordan. Now, if we go back to game 1, it happened once again. This is where it started. Michael and David Wingate going at it underneath the boards, and he was very upset. He wasn't the only one upset. Phil Jackson really lambasting his team, telling them that they're just getting overplayed all over the court. Let's go down to Hannah.
Mon, in the first half, the Sonics were effective when they did post up, but they didn't post up very much. George Karl is going to look for more of that in the second half involving Kemp and also Perkins. He says Hawkins has a hot hand. They're going to try to get him some stuff on the pick and roll. He said the key is to just penetrate the Bulls' pressure and then pass the ball, make some shots for each other. He said if it's a one-point game in the fourth quarter, he thinks they can win this one. Mark?
Thank you, Hannah. Bulls 46, Sonics 45 as this third quarter gets underway. Luke Longley with a nice dish from Michael Jordan. We saw Luke Longley head back to the bench late in the second quarter, and we're told he required 5 stitches to close a cut over his left eye. So the Bulls now lead by 3. There's Shawn Kemp with a series of moves rejected by Longley. Schlepp for 3. Yes. And he's tied the game at 48.
Detlef bails Kemp out with a 3. And Kemp's got to learn never execute the shot that you just faked.
Hopper for 3. And Longley with a nice tip. Beautiful touch by Dennis Rodman. And that's his first field goal. So the Bulls now lead by 2, and a holding foul called on Jordan.
Well, Chicago with only 6 offensive rebounds in that first half, 2 of them by Dennis Rodman, well below their norm. But if you don't get a body on Dennis Rodman, he'll do that to you all night long. You must check him early.
What was Shawn Kemp doing there? I mean, that's Dennis Rodman's game, offensive board. He was standing there watching.
And Detlef Schrempf doing it over Luke Longley, and the game is tied at 50.
I really think taking Schrempf off of Jordan has freed up his mind to concentrate on offense.
Jordan over Hawkins. So the matchup for the moment is Hersey Hawkins defending against Michael Jordan. Shawn Kemp putting the moves on Luke Longley and draws the foul. That's 3 on Longley.
Well, Michael looks a lot lighter on his feet to start this third quarter, and his eyes are getting wider and wider right now. Just a quick, hard dribble up in the air. Jerry West used to do that, although he's going to the other direction. 2 hard dribbles up in the air and the jump shot.
Hawkins and Payton in the backcourt with Schrempf, Kemp, and Johnson on the front court. And Jordan all over Hawkins. Last touch by Hawkins. What a play defensively by Michael Jordan.
It gets the Chicago bench going, the players on the floor going, and the crowd going when your best offensive player works that hard at the defensive end.
And at the other end, Johnson is called for the foul, pushing Longley at the post.
It is so wonderful to see how hard Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, or is it Scott Pippen, work on the defensive end. They just are in their man's face, oftentimes the length of the court. Terrific inspiration to everyone.
George Karl not happy with this illegal defense. Scottie Pippen was perched way out on the left side above the tip of the circle. The man guarding him, Detlef Schrempf, started to come over and double-team the little 2-man play, which he's perfectly allowed to do, and that's why the argument is going on there. Referee Hugh Hollins felt that Detlef Schrempf was doing something else.
And that's the 3rd illegal defense call against Seattle. Chicago's been caught 4 times. Michael Jordan off at the line. He's 3 for 6. Bulls with the ball, up by 2 with 2 minutes gone by in the 3rd. Marv Albert, Matt Guokas, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Hannah Storm working the sidelines. Bob Costas on hand with Julius Erving. A staff of thousands here at the United Center. And the foul is called on Johnson. That is number 5, Irvin Johnson, not to be confused with Irvin Magic Johnson, has committed 5 fouls in 7 minutes. Jordan, and last touch by Longley.
Well, Irvin Johnson is not a big-minute type of player. I'm sure told by George Karl, just go out and play as hard as you can at both ends of the floor. Be as physical as you want to be. If you foul out in 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, so be it.
Here is Kemp. Quick release with Longley moving in his direction. Shawn Kemp, 16 points, and he's tied the game at 52.
Shawn Kemp realizing as he's matured this season that he's a finisher. He's not a playmaker yet at this point of his career.
Hawkins called for the reach-in. That is his second. Hersey Hawkins with a big second quarter. 11 of his 13 coming in the second.
In his defense on Jordan, even though Jordan has 20 points already and will end up with a ton more, they're forcing him to work for it. Where game 1, it was so easy.
Longley getting position. Rodman with the offensive putback.
Once again, Shawn Kemp not putting enough body on Robin, and how Robin finds that little crack, that little seam, with strong hands to catch, and not so much to finish, because he normally doesn't finish in there, but he has been a much more offensive-minded player throughout the last 10-15 playoff games.
Michael Jordan claiming that he got the ball, that he did not foul Schrempf as he reached in on the ball fake and called for the foul.
Generally, they let the smaller player do a lot more than that. When a big 6'10 guy never up. He's a full 6'10", trying to post up.
Gary Payton, nice change of pace on the dribble. So Payton with 9 points, and the game is tied at 54.
I still think Chicago should take an opportunity and take the ball to Gary Payton, make him defend or post him up and try and get that fourth foul. He is such an important player to Seattle.
Jordan fires it up. He knew he had the foul called, and he'll go to the line for 2. And that's 3 on Hawkins.
Chicago is just so smart collectively. They realize immediately what the mismatch is. When they put a big guy on Jordan, they step into the perimeter. They put a small guy, Hawkins, they roll him into the post. That requires the other players to be very smart and have the multiple skills to be able to handle the ball in the perimeter.
Michael now 4 of 7 at the line. In game 1, he had 28 points, and that snapped a streak of 9 consecutive 30-plus scoring games in the finals for Michael Jordan. The record is 13 by Elgin Baylor, a record that appears to be safe for a while. Hawkins done. With the box out.
Terrific outlet, Rodman.
Pippen.
Yes. Dennis Rodman made that play happen. He just sprinted as hard as he could, middle of the floor, went right to the rim. Jet Lestrade had to honor that, and that left Pippen open.
Oh, Kemp going baseline, firing it up. Rebound, Kemp. Rebound by Longley. And the Bulls on the run. Now they get back. Pippen for 3. Rodman with the save, but he stepped out. Oh, apparently pushed out. So the foul call.
Rodman, like Kemp, able to make those multiple jumps, and then once the Bulls get out in transition, very few dribbles, terrific passing. Rodman up the floor to finish if need be.
And you see Schrempf with the light touch on Rodman, and that drew the foul call. We'll be right back.
Dr. Catherine Homrick cares for some very demanding patients.
Days I'll drive up to 300 miles a day to see my clients.
Fortunately, this veterinarian drives the reliable Mitsubishi Galant.
My Galant makes my life a lot easier. With the weather being unpredictable, it's real important that I have a dependable vehicle.
The Mitsubishi Galant, a car you can depend on, even when it's raining cats and dogs. The Galant from Mitsubishi, the new thinking in options.
Another rough day at the office.
I wear a bathing suit for a living. What can I say?
That's all Rebecca Romaine had to say to Esquire magazine when they were looking for a cover model. The rest was left up to the camera.
Great, right there, nice. That's it, beautiful.
July's edition has the sexy supermodel enticing subscribers to read hot new faces on the runway. Victoria's Secret and Sports Illustrated have already discovered her beauty, but all the attention hasn't gone to her head.
And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. You live life, you get thirsty. Life is a sport. Drink it up.
Welcome back to the United Center in Chicago. Look at the hustle by Dennis Rodman a moment ago, and then Dennis saying, "So, have you read my book?"
Michael Jordan misses a shot here. Luke Longley can't get his hands on it, and Michael Jordan just gets right in Luke's face. And during the timeout, continues to ride Luke Longley, as only a top player can do, who sets such a high standard of excellence. A coach in that situation would hurt a Luke Longley, where Michael Jordan can push and drive Longley, as he's done as to Ron Harper as well, to get them to be the best players they could possibly be.
8-0 run by Chicago, and they lead by 6. And here's pressure by the Bulls.
And this pressure designed primarily to do that. Get the ball out of the hands of Gary Payton.
Shot clock will be a factor now.
It is down to 10. Down to 5. Perkins. Shot clock at 2. Kemp fired from three-point territory. Oh, it's touched by the Bulls as Perkins went flying. Apparently Hopper pointing at Hugh Hollins, thinking that Hugh called it the other way, and he did.
Break for Chicago there, as it appeared that Ron Harper had knocked that ball out. Eddie Rush on top of the play and called it in Seattle favor. This is a key stretch for the Sonics. They're over the limit in the penalty. 7 minutes to go in the third quarter. The Bulls should be attacking the basket. They could live at the foul line.
The play by Payton to break it up. And last touched by the Sonics. So the Bulls get the new 24.
Seattle desperately needs some offense. They've got to get settled down defensively, force Chicago into very difficult offensive scoring situations, and then get out in transition, attack Chicago's pressing defense.
Jordan. And kept alive by Rodman. Oh, Pippen with a beautiful delivery leading to the foul. And the crowd wants a flagrant. It is a flagrant foul.
The Seattle big men, Perkins, Kemp, they're getting shoved underneath the basket. They're not taking care of their own defensive board. And Sam Perkins, that was called because of the combination of the earlier one in the first half that was not called a flagrant foul. The similarity, though, referees want to just discontinue that right now.
Well, here are the Bulls getting to the free throw line now with the Sonics over the limit of the penalty. He would have gone either way because that was a shooting foul and to tack on a flagrant foul as well. But that's what offensive rebounding gives you. It not only gives you those second opportunities, as Dennis Rodman and George Karl discussing their talking from yesterday, and both of these fellas do respect one another. And George Karl told us yesterday, he said, I'd love to have this guy on my team. I tried to trade for him.
Bulls now with 9 unanswered points. Jordan. Rebounded by Kemp. Protecting against Rodman.
But Dennis Rodman continues to play the mind game with George Karl. George Karl's getting sucked in.
Payton for three. Loose ball foul against Chicago. You recall in game 1 here on Wednesday night, it was a 2-point game going to the fourth quarter, and then the Bulls' defensive effort picked up even more so. We're seeing some signs of that here in the third quarter. The Bulls have been able to take command. They're now up by 7.
Tony Kukoc, the hero of game 1 with 18 points, 12 of them in the fourth quarter. Scoreless in the first half, has to give the Bulls something.
And Kukoc back on the floor. Coming on for Longley. Perkins. Nice post up, taking advantage of Kukoc. 7 points for Perkins. The Bulls lead 61-56.
Bill Jackson feels that Kukoc has really improved with his low post defense. He thinks that can be a good matchup for Kukoc on to Sam Perkins down deep.
Jordan wants it against Hawkins and throws the air ball. Rodman not able to convert. Rodman felt he was fouled. Trent with a bad pass. And here's Pippen with the breakaway.
Careless turnover by Detlef Trent, the kind that just breaks your back. You need offense desperately. He's coming up casually with Pippen and Jordan right here. Inexcusable.
Bulls by 7. Just under 5 minutes remaining in the third. Chant of defense with the crowd. Shot clock at 4. Trent. Controlled by Kemp. Shawn Kemp hammering it down.
Well, that's what talent will do for you. That was a terrible possession by Seattle. They should have been trying to post Perkins again as he just manhandled Kukoc inside, but bailed out tremendously by Shawn Kemp playing well over the rim.
Pippen with the rebound. 5-point Chicago lead. Now Schrempf held by Pippen as they became entangled. Foul on Pippen. That's his third. Vincent Askew getting set to check back in as you get another look at Kemp.
And Marv, Jordan's just gone to the bench. This is where George Karl and the Sonics made their big push in Game 1. Seattle has to take advantage right now. It's so difficult, though, because Chicago is an outstanding defensive team. It is so hard to get a good shot against their set defense. Then you got to make it after you even get one the first time.
Well, we saw in Game 1, Phil Jackson taking Michael Jordan out with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter, which is different than the regular season. Now taking him out with 4:20. If Phil Jackson is sensing he's going to need Jordan down the stretch of this one.
So Steve Kerr has come on. It's Kerr with Hopper, Pippen, Rodman, and Kukoc. Shot clock at 5. Hopper posting. Did he get it off in time? Yes, he did.
Chicago runs players at Peyton's advance the ball beautifully.
Now on Kukoc. That is his first. Both teams are over the limit.
And it's so difficult as Tony Kukoc just cannot find anything tonight. Asked him before the game how he's feeling. He said he's great. That back, no longer a problem at all. But Seattle is a team, like most of the Western Conference teams, with Gary Payton, as they have one ball handling guard. The Eastern teams, like Orlando and Indiana, Chicago, they've got the bigger guards who both handle it, pass to the forwards a lot. You get the ball out of Payton's hands, Seattle's going to struggle.
Well, Seattle now within 1 with 3:40 to go in the third quarter. So 6 straight points by the Sonics to match that Chicago run. Kukoc hesitated, did not take the shot. He had it. Tony Kukoc now looking tentative. Pippen is fouled.
I don't think Phil Jackson will stay very long with Tony Kukoc if he's going to act that way at the offensive end. He's having his problems with Perkins on the inside, although Seattle's only done that a couple of times. But Tony Kukoc, who's a European Player of the Year, he's been around. He has to take that shot no matter what he's shooting from the field.
But, Matt, it's tough for Tony because he comes in when Jordan's on the bench. And when he's not playing well, all the problems just get magnified. If he had some opportunities to play with Jordan a little more, maybe he could find his game.
And here is Randy Brown making his first appearance, coming on for Steve Kerr. Randy Brown, noted as a defensive specialist. Fifth year out of New Mexico State. Dennis Rodman has turned it around off the boards in this third quarter. He has 13 rebounds, 7 of the 13 in the third. Scottie Pippen. Rodman.
What is Sean Kemp doing? Sean Kemp has got to spend 50% of his time thinking about boxing out Dennis Rodman. George Karl forced to call a timeout.
3 minutes, 3 seconds to go. In the third quarter, the Bulls now lead by 4, and suddenly the presence of Dennis Rodman off the boards, providing an impact for Chicago. Rodman here in the third quarter, 8 points and 8 rebounds. It's Rodman again with the tip.
Carbon monoxide isn't the only thing to worry about coming from your tailpipe, because with every...
A look from above at the United Center in Chicago. Marv Albert, Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Hannah Storm. We will make the move to Seattle Sunday night at 7 Eastern, 4 on on the West Coast, Game 3 of the NBA Finals. Join us in Seattle. Sonics will host the Bulls. Showtime will kick things off for Game 3. 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern Time. Let's check in with Hannah Storm.
Marv, George Karl furious during that last time out. He said, you guys gave the Bulls those last 2 possessions. You've got to get in the game. Don't let the fatigue get to you. You have this game in hand. But he said, don't forget, get those defensive rebounds and then worry about your offense, Marv.
All right, Hannah, Gary Payton cutting it to a 2-point Chicago lead.
But Marv, Rodman has found his rebounding rhythm. In the first game and a half, he was jumping 3 times for every rebound he eventually got as Kukoc finds the lane. In this third quarter, Dennis Rodman, 9 jumps for the ball, 8 successful rebound retrieves.
And Tony Kukoc had missed his first 4 shots, able to hit from downtown. Bulls with a 69-64 lead. Foul committed by Rodman. That is his third. Dennis Rodman, quiet first half. And in the third quarter, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 7 on the offensive board. So he has 9 offensive rebounds, the most offensive rebounds in an NBA Finals game. Elvin Hayes with 11. Washington at Seattle back in '79. The human eraser, Marvin Webster, along with Robert Reed, Moses Malone, at centerpiece.
Minority eraser is always one of your favorites.
Absolutely. Bulls lead 69-65 as we come up on 2 minutes remaining in the third. Kukoc
amazing. We had seen him just a few minutes ago. Didn't even want to look at the basket. Now he comes out of that timeout. I wonder what... Oh, steal.
So the Bulls in the midst of a surge. A couple of threes by Kukoc. And the steal leading to the bucket. Vincent Askew picking up that dribble a second time. Looks like double dribble.
Randy Brown making a solid contribution. Good swing passes. Tough pressure defense. Seattle crumpling under the building pressure right now in Chicago.
Shot clock at 4. Perkins, air ball. Here comes Jordan. Leading Kukoc. And George Karl wants a timeout. 20-second timeout called by the Sonics.
So valuable in game 1, coming up large in that fourth quarter with 3-pointers, with passes, with dunks, has now ignited the Chicago Bulls and this crowd with a deep 3 from the right corner.
And then Scottie Pippen on the defensive end. Just comes blindside Vincent Askew, looks to the crowd, says, lift me higher. And then Jordan in transition. Sonics failing to get back. Chins on their chest. And this crowd exploding.
And here's pressure by the Bulls. 10-1 run achieved by Kukoc, accounting for 8 of Chicago's last 10 points. And the Bulls with the biggest lead of the night. They're up by 11.
It was Kukoc's 2 threes in the fourth quarter. One of them turned into a 4-point play that really broke the game open Wednesday night.
How about Dennis Rodman? 16 rebounds for the game. He's had 10 of the 16 here in the third. Shot clock down to 3. Payton. Now the Sonics are forced to take bad shots with the shot clock rolling down. Jordan putting the move on Trent and then gives it up. Open shot for Pippen. And Kukoc with the rebound. Pippen checking the clock.
This is a tough mismatch for Perkins. He can't pressure Scottie on the perimeter.
4-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Down to 10 seconds in the quarter. Jordan way off. And it's rescued by Askew and he threw it away. Miscommunication between Payton and Schrempf.
Seattle is totally rattled. All George Karl can do is try to build some confidence, try to keep some hope alive here as they've fallen behind by 11.
And a 20 taken by Chicago with 6 1/10 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Now it's changed to a full timeout. Bulls 76 and the Sonics 65.
Experience the excitement of your...
Michael Jordan's leadership has been the difference as Chicago has blown this open here. Earlier, he was all over his teammates, Luke Longley, Ron Harper, all the guys for not coming through. But he's the first guy to go pat him on the back, the head, and he's going to wipe the dye off his hands.
I think he got Dennis right at the Pearl Jam insignia. Turn to 3 and a rim down. Last touch. Let's see the officials, Ed Rush and Hugh Hollins, in a discussion as to who knocked it out. Only 0.5 of a second remaining in this third quarter. It will be Chicago ball.
This is where you always have to keep your eye on Michael Jordan for that lob to the basket. 0.5 is enough to catch and finish.
Well, Michael drifted outside, and that's the end of the third quarter. A surge by the Bulls. Sparked by Tony Kukoc and Dennis Rodman. And the Bulls are up by 11. We'll be back after these messages and a word from your local station. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
Every day, lots of people...
Dream of mine to play in the Olympics. And now to get this opportunity to be on this dream team, it's a wonderful honor.
I'm sure when that day comes, I'll be the proudest basketball player in the world because it's something that you've done for your country.
I'm actually wearing the U.S. uniform, representing the U.S. for the Olympics. Still can't believe it, you know, it's still like a dream.
To be with 11 other guys who are considered to be the best basketball players in the world, it's an awesome feeling.
The Dream Team, this summer on NBC.
Jay welcomes Politically Incorrect. Bill Maher, NBC tonight.
My owner works, and we leave the house at 7 in the morning and rarely get home before.
The Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Welcome back to Chicago. Hannah Storm telling us that George Karl has told his club, the Bulls will let you back in the game here in the fourth quarter, but if you quit playing, they will blow you out. And again, Gary Payton not able to take charge. 5 of 12, only 2 assists. The other night, 6 of 17 in 47 minutes. And he's locked for playing time again here tonight. Played 33 of a possible 36 minutes. Sean Kemp opens up this fourth quarter. We get a whistle from Jess Kersey and a foul on the Bulls. It is on Rodman. That is his fourth.
Mark, Gary Payton's contribution has just not been enough. For Seattle to win this game, for Seattle to win this series, he's got to come out and play the way Isaiah Thomas used to play for the Detroit Pistons. Come down the lane, put up big offensive numbers, draw the defense to you, and then set up your teammates. Sean Kemp, playing by himself out here tonight, called for yet another turnover.
Well, he had 7 turnovers in game 1. Kemp tonight, that is his third.
And speaking of turnovers, the Chicago Bulls with 11 careless ones in that first half, none in that third quarter, as they really picked it up defensively as well.
The Bulls by 11. Pippen. Well, he's able to penetrate straight down the lane, no pressure. And it's now 78-65.
And the Bulls' strategy coming into this series, get the ball out of Gary Payton's hands as much as possible, make some other Seattle Sonic get them into their offense.
Poked away from Perkins, but recovered. Shot clock down to 3. Slipping by Kukoc.
You'd think Tony would have some sort of idea since Perkins is left-handed like Tony. Most players like to come to their strong hand. Pip and Jordan just punishing the Sonics with their own right hands.
So the Bulls now lead 78-67. Minute and a half gone by the fourth. Jordan hits the fake and foul. Michael Jordan with a gorgeous baseline move. So Michael to the line. He is 5 of 8 at the free throw line. Askew was called for that foul.
And every time there's a free throw situation for the Chicago Bulls, it enables them to extend their pressure, get their track going, get the ball out of Gary Payton's hands, and then their defense can really pick up. The thing that surprised me about Seattle is every time they find something offensively, whether it's a post-up for Perkins, in the third quarter we saw a couple of post-ups for Payton, they score on it, but then they don't come back to it.
Jordan missing on both. 5 of 10 at the line. He's an 83% free throw shooter.
It's been an embarrassing free throw display throughout this spring's playoffs for the NBA superstars. Jordan tonight, Karl Malone and John Stockton in the Utah-Seattle series.
Another good play defensively by Randy Brown. Kukoc for 3. And Rodman with another offensive rebound.
Shawn Kemp just does not block out.
That's 10 offensive rebounds for Rodman. One off the all-time record for the NBA Finals held by the Big E, Elvin Hayes. Brown now doing it at both ends.
A terrific contribution for Brown. They don't look for him. They don't expect much from him, but he always just keeps it there with a great attitude.
For the travel, the up and down, but apparently the official felt that there was contact made and knocking the ball away, and Perkins was able to recover.
Marv, often they call a jump ball in that situation, which I think would have been the appropriate call. Oh, the back door.
Brown saving it.
These basic backdoor plays that you see from Chicago, that's the type of action that Seattle needs more of.
Pressure from Kukoc, but no call made. And Kemp could not believe it.
Kemp gets in trouble, Mark, when he double clutches.
Now Jordan in a post-up mode. Jordan played well by Askew. He thought he was fouled, though. And now Payton is fouled. Timeout is taken. 8:29 remaining. In the fourth quarter, the Bulls 80, Sonics 69.
The NBA Finals continue. Game 3, Sunday night at 7 Eastern on NBC.
I have to sit next to this Armani knockoff.
Hey, chill, baby.
Yeah, watch it, girl. Don't you go trashing my man. He is not your man. He's a microwave version of my man. Look at here, where? Oh, no.
Excuse me. He's right. Yeah. Let's heed the words of the Waldo man. May they echo in the mind and live in the heart.
I really would like for us to be friends, Laura.
Well, it has been a relatively quiet game for Dennis Rodman until just a moment ago.
He's been mixing it up with Shawn Kemp. There's that flopping that George Karl was complaining about. But it was Rodman who have taken over this game for Chicago. And as Matt pointed out at the start, when they get that kind of contribution from their role players, they are extremely difficult to beat.
Longley. Oh, nice move by Luke Longley. And Kemp came away with the rebound. The Bulls lead by 11. 4 minutes in. Fourth quarter. Percy Hawkins able to hit from downtown. A reminder, after tonight's game, we suggest you tune to CNBC on your cable system for a special NBA Finals post-game report. Our entire cast will recount the game with highlights. We'll see live press conference interviews and guests as we look back at Game 2 here at the United Center. That's the NBA Finals post-game special immediately following the game on CNBC. Now, Bill and Matt are regular viewers of CNBC following their extensive investment portfolios on a daily basis.
Is Geraldo going to join us?
No, I believe Charles Gruden will be conducting locker room interviews. Michael Jordan sitting it out with 7.5 remaining in the fourth quarter. A series of moves attempted by Longley leading to this. Hawkins, yes, and it counts. Hersey Hawkins will go to the line.
Chicago's bench up in arms on this call.
This is Seattle Sonic basketball. Force the turnover. This is what they do all season long. This is why they won 64 games. Good defense, quick strike at the other end, but absolutely no foul there as Phil Jackson just cannot believe that call.
They let him go. And they still get the foul called on him.
Hersey Hawkins turning it around tonight. 16 points, completing the three-point play, and the Bulls now lead 80-72. Chicago staying with Rodman, Pippen, and Longley up front along with Kerr and Harper. Here's Pippen for three. And back comes Payton. 2-on-1. Kemp putting the ball on Kerr. Good foul by Steve Kerr.
Seattle is terrific at making runs when Michael Jordan goes to the bench. He comes back in, and it comes right back. Now, Steve Kerr knows that Sean Kemp's going to throw one down here. He's going to make him earn it at the line.
And here comes Jordan making his way. Reporting in. Kemp, 7 of 9 at the line.
Well, Chicago's offense has just gone dormant right now. They're settling for jump shots. They're careless with the basketball, and that's why, of course, Michael Jordan re-enters to add semblance of order quickly.
And the thing is that Michael hasn't played that well at the offensive end tonight. Just 8 for 20 shooting. He's got 22 points.
Ron Harper headed back to the Chicago locker room. We'll check on that. And the call away from the ball. It's on Askew. 6:55 remaining, fourth quarter. Timeout taken. It's the Bulls by 6. We'll be back in Chicago in a moment.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Budweiser, official sponsor of the 1996 Summer Olympic Games. This Bud's for you. By Genuine Chevrolet, the car's more Americans trust. And by Fidelity Investment. It's time to realize the power you have.
Well, the Chicago lead, 113, is down to 6. 6:55 remaining in the fourth. Dennis Rodman with a spectacular second half off the boards. And in the offensive rebounding department, 10 rebounds, one shy of the NBA Finals record. And you look back at some of the big games off the boards in the playoff history of Dennis Rodman, and this one is right there with 19 rebounds in all.
Well, if I'm Seattle, the only player I've seen for their team to get a body on Dennis Rodman and keep him off the glass is Vincent Askew. Even though he's maybe an inch or two shorter than Dennis Rodman, he's got the wide body, and he'll lay some wood on you. Sean Kemp just will not do it.
Now trying to get the Bulls revved up. A 7-0 run by the Sonics since that Chicago 13-point lead. Jordan. Michael Jordan able to penetrate. Brown looking for the steal. Bulls 82. Sonics 74. Here's Payton. Right back. Gary Payton cuts it to a 6-point Bulls lead.
Payton has been so much more effective in this series facing the basket from around the foul line area. When he tries to turn his back against these bigger players of Chicago, he gets in nothing but trouble.
Longley. Well, Tony Kukoc, who helped, Kukoc comes up hobbling. He helped turn things in game 1. And after the slow start here tonight, he has come on in the fourth quarter.
Bob, you are not going to have any chance of beating the Bulls unless you can dominate your defensive rebounding.
And it's Kukoc with the rebound, although he is still hurting. Very slow in making his way to the front court. See the Bulls in command off the boards. Jordan and Kemp able to keep it away from Longley.
And even that time, Luke Longley had inside position, just not able to get up high enough in the air.
Schrempf, yes, Detlef Schrempf. He has 13 points. The Bulls 84 and the Sonics 78. We have 5:15 remaining in the fourth.
All set up by Payton, getting to the hoop, creating, drawing the defense, and then hitting spot-up shooters who have to keep finishing. Detlef Schrempf, make a shot, please. Thank you.
Kukoc for three. Jordan with the offensive rebound. Jordan stripped by Payton, but able to recapture and calls for time. Has to try to knock it aside. Jordan very upset. He thought he was fouled. 22nd timeout taken by the Bulls.
George Karl was running up the sideline at the beginning of that possession for Chicago, exhorting his team that this is a big stop. They are within 6 points as Michael Jordan losing possession, but so quick with his hands and so strong to dig out that loose ball and get the timeout.
Matt, when that ball's on the floor underneath your basket as a defensive player, you've got to go to the floor to get this ball. Everybody's standing and bending over at the waist, except for Michael Jordan, the best player in the game, diving on his hands and knees to dig that ball out.
And he's in the face of the official, Jess Kersey, as he thought he took a hit. Tony Kukoc being tended to by the Bulls trainer Chip Schaefer. A moment ago, we saw Ron Harper head back to the locker room. We're told he is bothered by an upset stomach.
Tony Kukoc, not normally much of an offensive rebounder, but his left foot landing right on the foot of Shawn Kemp and turning that ankle.
4:51 remaining in the fourth. Chicago in possession, and they lead by 6. So the Bulls stay with Randy Brown and Michael Jordan in the backcourt. Here's the lead broken up. That was intended for Jordan.
Good recovery by Hersey Hawkins, who I think has done a very solid defensive job on Michael Jordan tonight.
Breaking up that pass. And Ron Harper is back on the Chicago bench. Block. And a foul.
If Seattle could get the same kind of job on Dennis Rodman by Shawn Kemp that they're getting by Hersey Hawkins on Michael Jordan, they'd have a lot better chance of winning this game.
Foul on Payton, and that is number 5. Here's another look.
A terrific look-away pass by Michael Jordan. He knew he had Rodman running the middle of the floor all the way. He did not want to fake out Dennis Rodman. He wanted to make sure he could see that pass coming.
Rodman had hit his first 2 at the line. Dennis, during the regular season, only 52% at the foul line. Now Brown sitting down, replaced by Harper. Bulls 85, Sonics 78. Chicago looking to go 2 up in this best of 7. The Sonics would love to go back to Seattle tied at 1 apiece. We come up on 4 minutes remaining in the fourth. Yes, and it counts. Shawn Kemp will go to the line.
Shawn Kemp had a notion all the way when he felt Luke Longley on his back. He just drifted out to the corner, wanted the ball, and wanted everybody to get out of his way because he knows he can take Luke Longley off the dribble.
Matt, this is the kind of play that Shawn Kemp needs to make all the time. George Karl, ecstatic, realizes the isolation he's got, the mismatch Longley 20 feet from the hoop. Get to the basket, get by your man, and get in the air where there's no help defensively.
And you see Longley sitting down after picking up his 5th foul. It's only a 4-point Bulls lead. 4 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Jordan played by Hawkins. Jordan with the step and foul.
It is absolutely amazing. Michael Jordan just has such a feel at the offensive end where every other player is on the floor. He had that side clear. He saw the double team coming, but just so quick on the spin to elude that double team, get in the paint, and draw contact.
Matt, remember at the beginning we were talking about anticipation on defense. The Sonics have to know that Michael Jordan's going to try to take over this game down the stretch. And when he makes that spin move, somebody for Seattle has to be there sooner. The same way Scottie Pippen is coming from that blind side when he's playing defense on the Sonics.
Well, we've seen all night long the Chicago Bulls taking advantage of really the over-aggressiveness of Seattle. We see it with their scrambling, double-teaming defense. It has opened up offensive rebounding opportunities for Dennis Rodman.
Michael Jordan, 6 of 11 at the line. And the Bulls now lead 87-81 with just under 4 minutes remaining in the fourth. Payton with the snap. And they swing it out. Here's Flynn. To the rebound. That left Trent now 5 for 13. Timeout called by the Bulls to save that possession. 3:35 to go in the fourth quarter. We'll be right back.
Oh, Bill, did I tell you what Patty said that Rachel heard about what Mark said about Patty? Well, Bill, are you listening? Anyway, Patty ran into Rachel, who had run into Mark at a party. So, according to Bill, are you listening to me or to the game?
5 ticks left on the clock. Missiles down by 1. Just a reminder, this game brought to you by Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice-cold Miller Lite, life is good. Smith inbounds to Wakeman through the paint. Tomahawk jam. Yes!
Genuine Chevrolet. Then and now, the cars more Americans trust. This summer, only one movie has all the warmth, humanity, and good, clean fun discriminating audiences deserve.
I'm talking about Family Values.
Cream corn wrestling.
No.
I'm not putting these in corn.
Demi Moore.
Yeah.
In a new comedy from the makers of Honeymoon in Vegas, Striptease. Rated R.
Where great taste runs in the family, brings you Miller Moment.
Tonight's Miller Moment takes a look back 18 years ago to the day of the Seattle Supersonics and the Washington Bullets Game 7 of the NBA Finals, a game that belonged to the Bullets' big men, Wes Unseld and Elvin Hayes. They led the Bullets in overcoming a 3-2 deficit, including this Game 7 effort in Seattle. The Bullets winning by 6 to take the 1978 NBA World Championship. Wes Unseld named the series MVP. In recognition of that moment, Miller Brewing Company will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. I believe I have set an NBA Finals record for mentioning Elvin Hayes in a single telecast.
That was a terrific accomplishment for the Bullets on the home court of Seattle in the 7th game, where Dennis Johnson, one of the great playoff performers in history, went 0 for 14 on his home court in the deciding game. So sad that Dennis Johnson did not make the Hall of Fame this year.
But I would think an eventual entrance.
Absolutely, just has to be there.
One more mention of the Big E. Dennis Rodman is one offensive rebound away from equaling the all-time NBA Finals record, 11 offensive rebounds. Shot clock is down to 5. Kukoc for 3. Rebounded by Perkins, and Kemp with the recovery. It is a 6-point Chicago lead. 3:15 remaining in the fourth quarter. Critical possession for the Sonics. Shot clock is at 5. Payton for 3, coming up short. And deflected out by Short with 2 on the 24.
Discussion here as to whether Gary Payton's shot actually hit the rim, whether they should reset. Ed Rush says it did. A new 24.
Boy, that shot looked awful leaving Gary Payton's hands. He just kind of short-armed it. As we hardly even say Gary Payton's name. He's been so quiet here in the second half.
Perkins posting up on Kukoc. Fires it up. Rebounded by Kukoc. Well, the Sonics have had their opportunities the last couple of possessions, but not able to convert. Bulls with a 6-point advantage. 2.5 to go. That nearly rimmed in.
These Bulls are really good.
Well, much to discuss following tonight's game, and as we mentioned earlier, after our telecast here on NBC, you can tune to CNBC on your cable system for an NBA Finals post-game special. We'll all be on hand with interviews, discussions. Back come the Sonics. Gary Payton, Shawn Kemp. We come up on 2 minutes to go on the fourth. Booker stripped and deflected out by Pippen.
One of the problems over the years from Seattle, as they call a timeout right now, has been a lack of a go-to guy in the set offense down the stretch. They're struggling to find some offense right now.
2:08 remaining in the fourth at the United Center.
The dream continues.
This time I'm probably going to enjoy it more.
And a new era is born.
Our main goal is to win the gold, and we take our job very seriously.
As the NBA heads into its 50th season, the celebration begins. Watch NBA Special at the Finals, Sunday on NBC.
Later on the Tonight Show, the tape Jay doesn't want you to see.
Chicago 87 and Seattle 81. 2 minutes and 8 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Both teams with 2 full timeouts remaining. No fouls to give. It will be Seattle ball with 11 on the shot clock.
It's not so much that the Sonics don't have go-to guys. They got a bunch out there. Payton, Kemp, Shrimp in certain situations. It's just they don't execute well in the half court. They have to run some high pick and rolls.
Seattle has not scored in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Shrimp. Hawkins for 3. On the back tap handled by Harper. Lost it off his foot, but Rodman able to preserve.
Mark, Seattle's had golden opportunities. Schrempf had a beautiful, wide-open look. Hawkins' look was solid as could be. Payton's air ball was a good look. They just can't make any of them.
They're now 3 of 14 from three-point range. Shot clock is down to 2. Down to 1. Harper just didn't get it away. Bulls keep it alive, and Jordan draws the foul. Percy Hawkins called for his 4th, and Michael Jordan back to the line where he is 7 of 12.
And that look of frustration on the face of George Karl has been, he couldn't have asked for anything more, struggling all night, but time and time again, just hanging 6 behind and getting good scoring opportunities and can't get them, and the Bulls aren't doing anything at their end offensively.
But the offensive rebounding for Chicago, what is Perkins doing? What is Kemp doing? What is Schrempf doing? Chicago had 19 offensive rebounds in this game.
Bulls lead 88-81. Schrempf with the fake. Not able to hit on the running hook. Kemp is there. It will count and the foul. Shawn Kemp with 26 points. Foul committed by Tony Kukoc, and Kemp keeping the Sonics alive.
All set up by the penetration of Shrimp. A terrible shot, but at least he drew some looks defensively, and that enabled Kemp to slide along the baseline and find the opening. Another big statistical game for Shawn Kemp, but just having an awful time at the other end defensively, not even trying to get a body on Dennis Rodman, just trying to go get rebounds. But when you're playing Rodman, you got to buckle.
Three-point play again for Kent. And the Bulls lead by 4. Steve Kerr back on the floor as we come about a minute remaining in the fourth quarter. Bulls led by as many as 13. Sonics able to get back into it, and they've had, as we have been discussing, a number of opportunities. Here is Jordan, and he's fouled. Hit from behind by Schrempf.
And took exception to it as Schrempf taking a wild swing there. Got a piece of the ball, but no doubt got a piece of the head of Michael Jordan, and a quick reaction, and then Michael caught himself.
This is just a replay of game one. Whoa. This is you put Detlef Schrempf, their worst defender, on Michael Jordan. He lights up, just goes right to the hoop. Detlef ushers him in to his right hand. Not a good foul by Detlef Schrempf.
The Bulls only 4 of 8 at the line in the fourth quarter.
Sean Kemp saying he liked the hard foul that Detlef Schrempf took. But you know how it happened again? It was another double team coming. But actually the Sonics are coming so hard with a double team that Michael is able to get around it. You can't come so hard where he's going to split it or go around it. You got to stop him.
Bulls lead 90-84. And the Sonics call for time with 55 and 9 seconds to go in the fourth. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Now, a Third Rock Olympic tribute.
Harry, what are you doing?
High jump. World record is 9 feet. I'm going for 30.
Do you think we should tell him?
No. He's a man with a dream.
Ow.
The Olympics on NBC, July 19th.
What's the easiest way to get out of a 4x4?
Back in Chicago, Seattle taking a timeout, so they have 1 remaining. They are down by 6 with just under 1 minute to go in this fourth quarter, and for the second straight game, the Sonics have not been able to convert down the stretch. Game 1, the last 5 minutes, only 1 of 12. They've had the looks here tonight, only 2 for 7.
And the Chicago Bulls, not that much better. They've only scored 14 points in this fourth quarter, but so far, the defense of Chicago has been strong.
Seattle can look at that graphic and see improvement. Yeah, they doubled their performance from game 1, but it's just not enough.
Gary Payton will throw in, looking for the room from Ron Harper. Harper got picked off by Kemp. And we get the whistle from Hugh Hollins and a foul against the Bulls. Both teams are over the limit, so all shooting fouls from here on in. Harper picked it up, which is the worst possible situation for the Bulls. It stops the clock, and it puts Schrempf on the line with an opportunity to bring the Sonics within 4.
And a situation arises now with John Sally and Dennis Rodman on the floor. A possible quick foul. Phil Jackson senses it and gets better free throw shooters, Kukoc and Kerr, ready to come in.
Schrempf is now 3 for 3 at the line. He's a 78% free throw shooter. Another off performance for Detlef Schrempf, 5 of 14 shooting.
Chicago is just so solid defensively. Even though they were scrambling and broken down there, Harper did a pretty decent job of forcing Schrempf into help to his offhand.
Now pressure by the Sonics. The Bulls have missed their last 6 shots. At one point, they led by 13. They were up 80-67 with 9 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Down to 35 seconds, 10 on the shot clock. Bulls in no hurry here. 6 on the 24, and Kerr fires for 3. Rodman with the offensive rebound, and that ties an NBA Finals record. 11 on the offensive glass for Rodman, and that was a big one. Foul is called to stop the clock with 15 and 8/10 seconds remaining. Detlef Schrempf called for the personal.
Mark, Seattle just let far too much time go off the clock. The second that Rodman got this rebound, which put him in the record book with Elvin Hayes, the Big E, the Hall of Famer. You got to go right and get that quick foul, get the clock stopped.
Well, did you see how quickly Dennis Rodman sprinted? He knew somebody was going to be chasing him. He got rid of that ball as quickly as possible.
Tony Kukoc making his first appearance at the line, and he's a 77% free throw shooter. It's 1 or 2. Bulls lead 91-86, and the Sonics will use their final timeout with 15.8 remaining.
It's a two-possession game right now, and obviously the three-point shot comes into play, and the Sonics have good three-point shooters, but the strategy throughout the playoffs and really throughout the year for Chicago is to take away three-point shooting. They will be up on all of those people, switching on every play, trying not to give a Perkins, Hawkins, or Schrempf any kind of look.
I think Seattle has to go for 3 points early right now. Don't make it a desperation three at the end to maybe tie. Their three-point shooting tonight, abysmal. Even worse than it was in game one.
Overall, 8 for 31 in the two games. Bulls have done it at the foul line here in the final minutes. The last 7 points have come at the free throw line. Down to 15 and 8/10 seconds remaining. Chicago looking to hold on to go 2 up in this best-of-7 NBA Finals Series. Game 3 in Seattle on Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. Showtime will get it going at 7. That's 4 out on the West Coast, and then Game 4 in Seattle next Wednesday, June the 12th. So that'll be Game 3 Sunday night at the Key Arena in Seattle.
Marv, one of the things that Seattle really has to work on is their ability to come from behind and win games. Throughout this playoffs, the games that they've won, and they've won a lot of them, they've led from wire to wire. There hasn't been a case in these playoffs where they've trailed at the half and come back and won. That trend continues. That's disconcerting for George Karl.
Payton will throw in now from the near side of the court, looking for the quick three. Kemp, and he's hit out of reach. So again, the clock is stopped. 12 and 3/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter. Sonics, though, do not have any timeouts remaining.
And it didn't appear the Sonics looking for any three-point shot there, getting it quickly to Kemp in the corner, and he knew what he was going to do as soon as he caught it, and that is drive to the basket.
Kemp, 11 of 14 at the line. Seattle about 22 of 28 at the free throw line. They've hit all 8 in the fourth quarter. Sean Kemp with 28 points to lead Seattle.
Seattle has to make this free throw, get the quick steal or foul immediately.
3-point Chicago lead. Kukoc having trouble and has to use a timeout. Couldn't find anyone, avoiding the 5-second violation.
Well, David Wingate just locked up Michael Jordan and just literally held him and wouldn't let him come to the ball.
But how about running the baseline to get the ball inbounds?
That would help.
So the Bulls forced to take the timeout. Reminder, right after our telecast here on NBC, coming up on CNBC, on your cable system, an NBA Finals postgame special. Our entire cast will recount the game with highlights, show you live press conference interviews. As we look back at Game 2 here in the United Center, that'll be the NBA Finals post-game special immediately following the game on CNBC.
And these last couple of situations, the Chicago Bulls have left Dennis Rodman on the floor because I think Phil Jackson trusts his instincts so much. He's not a good free throw shooter, and obviously Phil does not want him to get fouled, but they think Dennis is clever enough where he can catch it and they get rid of it very quickly to another good free throw shooter, and he feels he'll just make the right play.
Dennis moves so well off the ball. He spaces the floor. He creates the opportunity by spreading that floor for his teammates to create their own play.
And when Phil Jackson looks back at this, he will not be happy even with the victory. The Bulls missing their last 7 field goal attempts. They've done it at the free throw line. They've not hit a shot the last 6 minutes of this fourth quarter.
Mark, this is an old team. This is a team that I don't think will really hit their stride till Game 3 Sunday night. They had that long layoff. Now they're back to playing every other day, which is NBA basketball.
Well, not bad if they haven't been able to hit their stride and they come out of here with 2 victories. 12 and 3/10 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Again, the pressure by the Sonics. This time Pippen will try to inbound. Jordan gets it back to Pippen. And Hawkins called for the foul. Down to 8 and 9/10 seconds. And Pippen to the line. He is 5 of 6 at the free throw line.
A lot of confidence that time shown by Scottie Pippen, just waiting and saying, come and foul me. If you keep that ball moving, Chicago can run the ball out because Seattle can't catch up to a moving ball.
There you see the problems that Scottie Pippen has had from the free throw line during the season and during the playoffs, but so far in this series, much better until there. Seattle out of timeout.
Scottie Pippen, though, has shot the ball well at the line in this final series, 13 of 16. So the situation, 8 and 9/10 seconds remaining, 3-point Chicago lead. As you mentioned, Matt, no timeouts for Seattle. So the Bulls get back to the Seattle front court, and Pippen misses on both. Rodman able to get a jump ball out of it. However, it's only a 3-point game. That was almost an air ball by Scottie Pippen.
And Seattle failing to take care of its defensive backboard, giving up a rebound on the offensive end, an offensive rebound, a missed free throw, inexcusable to trying to win.
Shows the great instincts of Dennis Rodman, able to get to the ball here.
Well, it was knocked loose and almost knocked to him, but how about him just not taking anything for granted?
Now the question on the lineup, Jordan trying to organize things. It's Perkins and Rodman. The Sonics with 6 and 9/10 seconds to go need a 3 to tie it if they can get possession. Bad toss. Oh, not a good toss, and apparently they're going to do it again and reset the clock. Yes.
And it looked like a foul could have been called there on Dennis Rodman as he hindered Sam Perkins from getting up in the air.
Just Kersey with the do-over. They reset to 6.9. And again, a whistle. And they'll re-jump. Hugh Holland says, do it again.
And that's the second time Dennis Rodman has fouled Sam Perkins.
Rodman is leaning in, and he's initiating the kind of, but he's doing it with his left arm. His inside arm.
Well, let's see. Well, we'll do the hat trick. And it's controlled by Jordan. And now the foul with 3 and 7/10 seconds remaining. Oh, Payton and Jordan having some words. Face to face. And Harper guides Payton away. Now Sean Kemp calming Gary Payton down.
Well, Michael well aware of the repercussions if he gets into any kind of trash talking or taunting or a possible throwing of a fist or a slap. He walks away, and Kemp wisely gets Payton out of there.
It is Rodman going to the foul line. Dennis Rodman now 3 of 5 at the line.
This has not been pretty down the stretch.
Well, Pippen missed 2. Now Rodman missing. Only 3 and 7/10 seconds to go in the fourth. And Rodman is able to hit for a 4-point lead. Perkins fires it down for Shrimp, and that will do it. The Chicago Bulls escape with the victory. The Bulls over the Sonics 92-88. So they protect the home court. They are up in this best of 7, 2 games to nothing, with game 3 to take place in Seattle on Sunday night. 29 for Jordan, 21 for Pippen. Let's go to Jim Gray with Dennis Rodman. Jim?
9 points. He has 20 rebounds, tying a playoff record. Dennis, you made that final free throw there, plus you had a lot of words with George Karl. What did you say to him after his derogatory comments about you?
Well, you know, me and George Karl go back a long way, and I remember a couple of years ago he really wanted me to come to Seattle, and I wanted to go to Seattle and win a championship there. But, you know, it's all about mind games and head games. That's what it's all about.
Have you won the mind games now? You're 2-0 in the series, but are you ahead on the mind games as well?
I don't think so. I think Seattle's a great team, a great athletic team. They can get in any game and get in anybody's head. But tonight, you know, I think that we were on the free throw line.
You had a specific conversation with George Karl. You went over and said something to him. What was said there?
I said, you know, I don't think that was appreciated what you said about me in the paper, but I said, are we still friends? He said, I protect my players. I said, that's great. Are we still friends? He said, yeah.
Now, the Sonics gave you quite a game this evening. They sent a message that they can't be competitive going back to Seattle for 3 games. Now, this was not as easy as you expected tonight, was it?
No, I thought we would play a little bit better, but we didn't. But that's what the playoffs are all about. And the people got their money's worth and hope we can get one Sunday.
All right, Dennis, congratulations. We'll see you Sunday.
Let's say hello to Lexus.
All right, let's go back to Marv Albert.
All right, thank you, Jim. Rodman, 10 points, 20 rebounds, and NBA Finals record-tying 11 on the offensive glass. Again, the final score, the Bulls 92 and the Sonics 88. They are up 2 games to nothing in this best of 7. And now you can tune to CNBC on your cable system, as we've been mentioning, for that NBA Finals postgame special, which begins immediately. Join us Sunday at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 on the West Coast, Game 3 of the NBA Final Series from Seattle. For Matt Dukas, Bill Walton, Bob Rashad, Hannah Storm, and Bob Costas, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Chicago.
The NBA Finals, the French Open, the U.S. Open, Wimbledon, the U.S. Olympic Trials, the U.S. Senior Open.
The ballet?